It is with great pleasure that I introduce our first presenter for the Healing Retreat for People of Color, Angela Dharma Fierce. Dharma, ERYT 500, is a yoga educator and Ayurvedic wellness practitioner. Her yoga classes and workshops share from the healing traditions from around the world. Dharma currently leads the Summer 2020 YTT at Southwest Institute of Healing Arts and provides YTT continuing education with Loom Yoga and Angela Star Health. Dharma has led Tai Chi, meditation, and wellness programs at clinics and care centers in the Phoenix and East Valley of Arizona since 2015. Dharma provides private coaching for yoga and how to integrate wellness for beginners. We welcome you to the Healing Retreat for People of Color. Dharma, thank you.
All right, thank you so much, Keisha. So if there was a little bit of an echo, I'm not sure who was able to pick up on that, but just to clarify, my email is angela@angelstarhealth.com. And my name is Angela Fierce, and my spiritual name is Dharma. So I'm really happy to be a part of the yoga and Ayurvedic tradition. So Dharma translates to purpose. So I am happy to be consciously on purpose to share and support healing traditions, holistic health traditions that we can use right now, no matter what. So that was something that Maya had brought up when she opened our circle. So again, thank you all for taking the time, tune in and to participate in the healing retreat for people of color. So I want to offer my gratitude to Maya Breuer and to Rose Kratzley for organizing and putting this together in this virtual platform so we can share. One of the things that we were talking about as hosts was that we're in our homes. We're in our homes, so thank you for allowing me to come into your homes and to share on this topic that means so much to me. So Rose and Maya and Sara, thank you, Sara Clark, for what you offered. I think we all touched upon the healing that can happen with these practices. So what I'm going to be offering today is on the science of Ayurveda. And Ayurveda is the science of life, and it's a science of self-healing. So it's how you can empower yourself. So we're going to go through maybe a system to help you monitor and to start using Ayurvedic principles in your life. And we'll get into some of the foods. So welcome to my kitchen. And we're going to talk about how to incorporate more fruits and vegetables into our diet. And we're also going to talk about maybe different ways, bring my beans over, different ways, right? We can bring some different beans into our diet. So we'll focus on those aspects of foods. And then we'll also be touching upon a little bit towards the end, right? I'm going to share the super herb. So we're going to talk about how we can use herbs in our diet. So outside of our food, right, there might be a supplement that we need to take or flower essences. So we're going to really keep this simple. Right? And we're going to be aware of the cost, right? So we want to make sure that all our holistic health practices are accessible. Okay, so let's make sure that we are on that same line where things will be accessible to all. All right, so as we come into this, let's step back for a minute and realizing that there's trust, right? So as we go about healing and self-healing, we're talking about building trust in ourselves and trust in nature. So that's why we're using foods, whole foods. So it'll help us build this trust in nature. So as we're talking about the stress and everything that we're going through, perhaps you might have experienced a loss of hope, right? Perhaps those things might start to come through, a loss of hope. And we maybe experience that a little bit more when we are disconnected from nature. And nature will heal us. The breath will heal us, sunshine, water, and fruits and vegetables, beans, foods, healthy foods are all supportive for our system. So let's talk about that then. As we look at our foods, right, there's a timing and a schedule for our breakfast and our lunch and our dinner. But if we back up from there, that's a day schedule, right? Our days get organized into weeks. Our weeks become months. Our months turn into seasons, right? The seasons are the year. So what we can use and what I love to use in Ayurveda is our calendar, right? So I'm going to invite you to start to use your calendar to assist you in your self-healing process. So as we look at this will help us to establish the routines. It'll help us to find a rhythm, and this is what Ayurveda is about, finding the rhythm of life. So we want you to find your rhythm. And it's understanding that sometimes the rhythms are down, sometimes the rhythms are up, but you should be able to regulate your own rhythm. And we don't know the rhythm if we're not keeping track, right? So it's a beautiful day, right? It's Sunday, right? August 16th. And as we're here, it is an auspicious day for us to be starting this and to, right, have our inaugural online healing retreat for people of color. So cosmically, right, on my Ayurvedic calendar, it tells me, and reach out to me. I can support you on getting your Ayurvedic calendar. And we have 4 planets going into their home states. So it's a great time to be at home, getting more knowledge and information to support you, to tap into your own healing capacities. So we're doing this today, so that's a great thing. And as we look on this week, a new moon is this week. So with new moon cycles are great times to initiate and start. And I'm going to ask you and invite you, can you increase your vegetable servings? Right? So if you're not sure, right, can you get 1 to 2 servings at lunch and 1 to 2 servings at dinner? Right? So targeting 3 to 4 servings per day. And if you're already there at 3 to 4 servings per day, I'm going to invite you to go to 4 to 5. Right? Maybe see if you can bump it up to 6. Okay? So we're going to talk about how you can do that effectively. I've got one technique. You guys might have heard of it, juicing. So we're going to create a juice this morning, and we're going to see how we can add an additional vegetable serving in, maybe 2 additional vegetable servings in. And this will support you, right, in increasing the prana, the life force that's coursing through your body to help you digest your food, digest your experiences, understand your emotions, right? And move through life with greater ease. Okay? So again, we're going to use the calendar to kick off, to keep track of how we're feeling. So we don't just let things go. We don't let it go by the wayside. Oh, I didn't feel good that day. And we just don't notice. And we keep feeling a little less good, a little less good. And it starts to feel normal to have an ache or a pain, or to just have lower energy, right? So if we can keep track and, hey, my energy level is really good. What did I eat that day? What did I eat the day before? Then you can create your diet, your custom diet. Because the foods that give me energy might not be the foods that give you energy. Or the timing of the foods that give me energy, right, might be a different timing for you. But you'll only know if you're keeping track. So it's not a hard thing. So we're just going to use this new moon, which starts on Tuesday, okay? And you can go to the next full moon, right? So you can just keep track of the 2 weeks, or if you are ready to chop that up into each day, right? You can start keeping track of what's going on with you then. So let's start using our calendars to start to incorporate the principle of awareness, okay, into our healing practice. All right. So let's move over to the beans next. So it's 7 o'clock in the morning here. I am on the West Coast. I am in sunny Arizona. So good morning for those of you who are on the East Coast. So as we work to incorporate beans into our diet, what you can find when you purchase your beans is you can soak them overnight. And these beans have had an overnight soak. So as I get up in the morning, getting things ready, I can just, right, put it in my sink, give them a rinse. You don't have to soak your beans, okay? So this is some knowledge that I would love to share. So why do we want to have beans, and what is the best way, different methods to prepare, right? So as we talk about healing our digestion, so Ayurveda, science of healing, working with food, how can we improve our digestion? Beans are a wonderful food because they're a protein and it's a fiber. So having that fiber in our body will help us to process and metabolize our food, move the waste through our body, help us to absorb things that come in. So we can tend to our body, tend to our field. So that's the benefit of eating beans. So the benefit of soaking the beans is they'll be easier to cook, so they'll cook faster, right? And also we will be releasing more life force. So these beans have sprouted. So you might not be able to see, but now I have sprouted beans. So I've brought that life force out. So now, as I consume it, my body's gonna absorb even more life force from the beans. The beans already had it. I just unlocked the potential. So I just unlocked the key there. You can eat unsprouted beans and you will still get that life force. Your body will do the unlocking for you. So it might take a little bit more time, all right? So remember, it's patience, right? So one of the keys to Ayurvedic cycles, using food to heal, is it takes time. We're back to our calendar. Give your body time, right? So when we get into the supplements, this is when you have a chronic condition. I'm going to jump to it now. You use a supplement when there's a chronic condition and you want an immediate boost of a nutrition source. So, right, we are all families here. We're all showing up as families. We're showing up with heart disease, right? We're showing up with cancer, right? We're showing up with immune system battles. So at times we might need, and we should supplement, should turn the camera so you can see my supplement corner here, right? So you can see the little supplies there. So we supplement, even though I'm doing my best to use whole foods, I will still use supplements to support me for the ease and for any chronic conditions that I'm working with, okay? So that's how you can unlock the potentials. So with the beans, sprouted or not sprouted, pop them on the stove. We'll add the herbs, the supplements. We'll save that for our second talk, right? And getting these cooked down because we're going to focus on juicing. But take time to prepare your beans. And if they're not a staple of your diet yet, one day a week, you can try meatless Mondays and you can incorporate beans in for that night. Bean chili, bean burgers, and beans and rice, right? So you can make a khichdi is a Ayurvedic meal where we use sprouted mung beans and we create a meal from that. Right, so there's many ways. So you can reach out at angelstarhealth.com. Some recipes should be posted. So those are different ways that you can incorporate that. And again, beans are relatively cheap and they will fill you up and support feeding many people, right? So they're an economical way to bring health into your diet. Right? So that fiber will help remove any toxins, anything your system doesn't need. The eating beans will support you in feeling better. All right. We're going to keep track of the time and make sure that we are where we need to be. But now we're going to come into our fruits and vegetables. So the fruits and vegetables, they're going to work to hydrate us, help us to repair anything, any cells of our body that need a nutritional source. That's what these are for. Again, you will get some fiber, but here I'm in Arizona, so I need as much hydration as I can get this time of year. So go by what's local for you. Go by what you're called to when it comes to creating your juices. So that's what we're going to do now. So as I went through this cycle for myself and healing crisis. So it was a healing crisis that forced me to stop and look at what I was doing and how I was living my life. What was I consuming, right? And being able to mentor and work with other people in the yoga community. I was at Kripalu and I did the retreat with Maya, and right, starting as a participant, being able to work up as a teacher, and full disclosure, right? So Maya is my mother. So I was blessed to be in a home where meditation and yoga was a part of our lives. But as I graduated, right, college and moved away from home, the stresses of life, right? The stresses of work, stresses of working in a high-paced environment before I moved to the health and wellness field, had me realizing that I needed to make different choices with my food. So I started the process, and I realized that there were power foods for me, right? So this is one of my power foods, lettuce. Okay, so this is going to be one of the components of our green drink. So I've already kind of prepped it up a little bit, but I might give it another cut just so you can see the size I put into the blender. Okay, so lettuce is a power food for me. So it's the fiber, it has a lot of water, and since I'm in Arizona, we eat a lot of salads. So, you know, sometimes I want to get my counts in. So I started to juice it. And one of the ways, right, as I'm making part of it, wow, I feel better. I'm a little bit clearer in the head. I can regulate my emotions better. My hair grows. When I juice, when I eat raw food, these locks grow like nobody's business, okay? So there's many ways, many health benefits. I know a lot of us are concerned with our hair and our locks. So just something to consider, okay? So I've got that, and again, it's summertime here, so I've got this watermelon here. Some folks saw it. It's the East Coast. I mean, I'm not on the East Coast, so it's not as red as I would like. And this one is a little bit on the edge, so I picked it up a few weeks ago as I was practicing, but I was able to keep it preserved. So I cut it up, and so as I make my juice, I'm gonna use my blender. So I do have a juicer, but I started to use my blender and just having one tool to use. So I'm gonna make enough for two, and serving sizes are important when it comes to fruits in your juice. All right, so 1 to 1.5 servings of fruit. So I can maybe add one more piece here. And then I'm gonna layer that. So I put my fruit on the bottom and then my green on top. All right, so I'm gonna throw some more green on that. Okay, so I'm gonna pop that over there. I moved it closer so I wouldn't have to turn my back to you. Celery became my other superfood, and I love to juice it. So I'm gonna just take a couple of stalks of celery. Just pop that right on in there, okay? Cucumber, right? It's like I'm making a little salad with a little bit of fruit on there. Okay, so again, the water, the nutrition, all that's gonna come through. So I'm gonna chunk that up just a little bit more. So, right, so I've got that. And anything else? An apple. So apples for me are a go-to, but we really wanna be aware. So I'm gonna invite you not to add as much fruit into your drink to control your sugars. So we don't want high sugars. We don't want this to spike us up, right? We want the fiber and we want our blood sugars to stay somewhat stable. So I tend to do about half. And now the beauty of it is, and I'm gonna talk about getting yourself prepared, is so I've got half an apple left, right? I've got lettuce left over that's prepped and ready to go. I've got some fruit ready to go. So I'm ready for my next juice tomorrow morning. Okay, so just make sure you're ready and you can prep as much as you need. So one of the ways I found when I started to do this was I would just spend another $10 to $15 and have a bag of lettuce, a stalk of celery, 2 to 3 apples, and that was my juicing supplies for the week. Okay, you can add in a grapefruit if you like that morning blast. I'm just gonna get the lid here. So I'm gonna juice this up. I've already added a little bit of water, and pardon the noise, we're gonna get this going. All right, it came out green. So we've got a green drink here. So you have two options. Because I didn't use one of the main juicers and I use lettuce, it's gonna be a little frothy, okay? And depending on the condition of the melon, right? So it's going to be a little frothy, so you can pour it in a jar or let it settle in your glass, and you'll see the juice separate. So I'm going to put this aside, and we can watch that as it happens. All right. So there's my juice, right? So we're just going to let this settle down, okay? You can start drinking it now. Let me get my glass. This could be your breakfast. This is going to be my start for my breakfast, all right? So just live food going straight down. It's neutral, so I would add a hit of lemon or lime, and that'll just bring out the flavor and just really, it adds a really nice touch to it. So I'm gonna see if I have a lime over here. No, not what I would like to use right now, all right? But I do have a little bit of grape, so these are ways you can add a little bit more flavor to it, okay? Good stuff, good stuff. So we're gonna start, so I know we're gonna have questions here in a few minutes, so if you wanna start putting your questions into the chat, so we'll be ready to transition. I'm gonna move over now to, as you're also working with the fruits, I did have this week, so back to school starting, right? So we've been at it this past 2 weeks here in Arizona, and several of my coaching clients, so I coach for families how they can incorporate these wellness tips into their family lifestyle, right? So the tips that I'm giving you is what I share with people in their own homes and look at what their nutritional tastes and flavors are. So achieving more fruits and vegetable consumption by everybody in the household, cut it up, okay? Cut the fruit and leave it out, and right, or put it in little in your kids' lunch kits, already cut. Right? It's just an easy way for you to enjoy it. It can be daunting for a little one. Eat your fruit. But if you cut it up for them, and even for yourself, right? If you cut your fruit, there's something to it. I'm working on this little plum here. It makes it aesthetically pleasing. Look at that, right? So you can see, and you really get to appreciate it. You get the tactile feel of each individual piece, and it's fun. Okay, so we found, studies have been done. Cut the fruit up and offer it. People will consume more fruit. Okay, so that's just a fun tip that I found, and it works. Okay, so I use it with many families. All right, so this is starting to settle a little bit, still going a little bit slower than I would like, but we're going to transition now from the fruit to our vegetables. So one of the Ayurvedic systems and ways that has really helped me to incorporate and to make it come easily and natural is to look at it maybe in the morning and through lunchtime, have things that come up from the sky, right? So all my fruits are here, right? And then lunchtime, as you start to come down, right? Then we can get some of the vine. So we've got our tomatoes and then our squashes. So towards the evening, we're eating lower on the ground. Okay, so we're getting our foods from lower on the ground. So that's where our squashes come in. Okay, so there's many kinds of squash. I just have 2 here that I'll be eating this week and maybe even this evening. Right, so it's pretty simple then to incorporate and making sure that you are having enough fruits and vegetables in. Again, starting your day, having 1 or 2 fruits that you can juice, okay? Having your lunch where you're still having a salad, so you're getting in another round of salad of green leafies, and you can go into your kale, go into your spinach here, right? And then add in your cucumbers, your tomatoes, so you have a standard salad. And then as you get to dinner, okay, we're gonna start incorporating our squash, our broccoli, our cauliflower, right? So this way you're progressing through and it's not overwhelming. What should I have? What should I have? Hey, you know what? We had beans on Monday, we've got squash on Tuesday, right? Hey, I'm gonna have those lentils and let's add some squash to it, right? So I can use my zucchini squash with that. And then every Wednesday, it's the spaghetti squash, right? So you can use spaghetti squash and use that in place of your pasta. So these are just different ways that we're working to, right, improve our food choices for healing. So it's all for healing, right? So we're human, right? We're going to go for the sugar, right? We're going to have that celebratory glass of wine, right? We're going to have some French fries, right? So if we can maybe look at the times, use your calendar. So you're not having that as such a frequency, but you are increasing the frequency of your fruits and vegetables. That's what we're after. That's what we're after. And then you'll find as you're taking note of how you're feeling. So remember, as we're using our calendar, we're noting perhaps what you're eating, but let's go back. Let's just take note of how you're feeling. What's your energy level, right? We don't expect everybody, maybe, or maybe we should expect everybody to have an energy level of a 9 to 10, right? And then, right, if it comes down to a 7 or 8 and we understand the stresses that are going on in our lives, okay, we can regulate based on that. If we find we're at a 5 and a 6 and just things aren't getting done, right, or we're adding 7 or 8 but things aren't getting done, we can start to see, how we can make changes, right? Do I need more rest? Hey, did I eat fast food? Did I have pizza and then I got burgers? And I'm feeling tired and really cranky and crabby. Oh, but I ate that salad and I was really smooth and things got done, right? Or for me, it's that kitchery. Wow, I'm just a little bit more centered. I'm more calm. Okay. So use your calendar to take note of how you're feeling. So there's great journaling apps. I've started to use those to add more notes, right? So outside of your energy level and your mood is calm. Mood is moody, right? How are you feeling? So ask yourself how you are feeling. Let's check back on this juice. All right, it's settling now. You just have to pour very carefully. I don't think I'm gonna be able to get it. I got more chunks, so you can always add more ice. You can add more water because it's your juice. So I'm going to see if there's any questions, if anybody has any questions that are coming in. And we're going to start, I'm going to move over to our herb, my specialty herb that if you are feeling extra stress, give this one a try. Holy basil. Holy basil. So the Tulsi plant. The Tulsi plant. So I had heard about it and maybe had tested it out and even drank the tea a few times. But something happened on this recent trip to India, and it was presented to me as more of a healing herb. And I've studied it since that time. It's been 7 or 8 months since, and I'm even more. I love sharing the empowerment that holy basil gives me to my friends, clients, and family, right? So this holy basil plant, so you can get basil, right? And we often make pesto with it, or we'll, use it in food and culinary purposes. So again, you can do that. Continue to do that, right? With this stressors that are hitting us so hard, I recommend that you get the supplement, okay? I've got Gaia Herbs, but I know there's other brands out there. And this whole basil leaf, it's an adaptogenic. And the support that it gives for stress here through the kidneys is just beyond the beyond. So it's an adaptogenic for stress, and it's an antiviral, right? So it's really, I think it's really supportive for me of these times. And, check it out. And I would always love to hear back from you to hear how things are working or how your body is responding to it, okay? So Ayurveda has us work seasonally. So we're here in summer. I wanted to share juicing with fruits and vegetables to help find us ways to hydrate our bodies, right? So keep hydrated. That could be a part of as you're staying calm, staying centered, right? Using your breath. So stay hydrated, making sure you're getting in enough water and enough green drinks. So add 1 green drink, right? And you can use a blender. Just keep blending, and then let it sit if you need it to let it separate a little bit more, all right? So
Dharma,
let's see.
there's a question about, you mentioned seasonally, and folks are wondering, Sasha has asked, are there benefits to eating seasonally? If so, can you share a little bit more about that?
Yeah, right. So those are great questions about staying with the seasons and eating seasonally. And it gets to be a challenge because of the shipping and how we can get things out of season. The benefit of eating seasonally is that our bodies are really attuned to that naturally. So you will naturally be attuned to your environment and the foods that are there. So if you can eat seasonally, and also it's better for, so it's a two-way system. It's better for you. It's better for the environment. So you're not getting foods that are coming in from pretty far, but when you eat seasonally, chances are you're eating local foods. Local foods might not have to travel or shouldn't have to travel as far. And that has less of an impact on the environment, which impacts us, right? That's what we're learning, is that we're all interrelated. That impacts us. But there's something to local foods with your interaction with that soil that you get the nutrition that you need. So I'm here in Arizona and we grow the majority of the greens from around that are distributed around the United States. When I eat more greens in my diet, it's a superfood. My family eats greens all the time now. It's grown local. It's a local food. So we eat greens. So find what foods are local to your environment and just give it a try. So that's the beauty of Ayurveda. Cook and try it. See how you feel. Right? So yeah, we have kale and greens here in Arizona, so we consume it a lot. Great question.
And then Gail just asked, as you were speaking, what is the brand of the Holy Basil supplement?
Yeah, so I've been using the Gaia Herbs, GAIA Herbs, HERBS. So yeah, I really like it. Could feel the difference. I have clients who have felt the difference from this brand, and it's the stressor for myself. I felt the difference in my own personal stress level and my ability to handle and adapt. And this was in March. So I started it in March. All right. So
Great, thank you so much.
Oh yeah, sure thing. Wonderful, wonderful.
And then I'm bopping back up just for one more before you can, I don't want to keep it moving for you. Feel free to tell me to stop asking. But Vivian asked earlier, what are alternative suggestions if you have an intolerance to beans? They're super inflammatory in my body.
Right. Okay, that's a wonderful question. So make sure you're looking at the types of beans, and I would definitely look at sprouting the beans. So you might not be open to all kinds of beans. So each bean, as it breaks down, the enzymes that it releases are different. So you might be able to consume a mung bean that's sprouted, but kidney beans, right, might be off of your list. So there's a plethora of beans. So I would look to that, and I believe the black bean, or again the sprouted mung bean, and there's at least 3 varieties of lentils you can check with. So yeah, check on the sprouting. And again, if it comes down to it, that again, if that's not a power food for you, then that's just not a power food for you. It's okay. Right? You would just consume more vegetables and fruits, and you would get your proteins from other sources, right? So if you do have to consume fish, or finding another way to find your holistic balance, there's no judgment in the universe. There's no judgment in the universe. And from the yogic perspective, there's no judgment. We need you whole. We need you healthy. Okay, so there's no judgment. So if beans just won't go, beans just won't go. Okay, so we can honor that, and we can find another fiber source. We can find another protein source.
Just so you know, Vivian responded, this is super, super helpful and has helped me create access to beans. I miss them so much. I will message you privately. Thank you again.
Yeah, wonderful, wonderful. Yes, and right, that's what this is about. It's about us connecting and sharing in the traditional way, right? And so please, yeah, reach out for any questions anybody would has on this, because this is what I love to do and this is what I love to talk about. So yeah, I look forward to connecting with you all again. Yeah, find me through Instagram and all the other social medias, and we'll be sharing a lot more, because this is the way, right? And this is we are all connected. And I want to just give one more shout out, right? So just to honor, right, the connection of the Black community, the African community, to these Asian principles, right? And we're just so honored to have it, right, manifest in our realities, that we have a leader, right, who can represent the Asian culture and the Black culture. And we just have to recognize that. And it's coming forth and coming through for us right now. And it's just, it gives me hope, right? And it gives me, right, just a greater honor to be able to share these practices. So remember, these practices are for everybody. Ayurveda, yoga, breath work, right? Using pranayama. All these tools are for us, every one of us. So let's share it, let's use it, right? And let's get together, and I'm gonna maybe take us out on an own. Let me know how I'm doing on time. I think the 10 minutes start. Are we still good?
Yeah, there's a few more questions actually
Oh.
for you. So both Penny and Nikki would love to know, what calendar would you suggest to use? Your presentation, well, Penny says your presentation is wonderful and filled with great information. And then I guess Nikki's calendar was more focused on the calendars for journaling our foods and moods.
Okay, so let's see. So any blank calendar will work, right? Most calendars will show you. So I think the only calendar that I request is that it has a new moon and a full and a full moon, so you can keep track of those days and your feeling states. I'm pretty simple. I start with just a blank calendar and just write down your emotion and giving your own score. So I'll write something up and put it on my webpage, and we'll share it out through Instagram. But I'm really about keeping it simple and finding what works for you. What do you presently use? So if you're on your phone a lot, I would get a journal program that you can do on your phone, right? I use day one. That's what works for me, but I know there's other ones out there. So find one that fits for you. So that's one of the ways of yoga and Ayurveda. Take a breath, see what tools are naturally coming to you, and use that tool. So yeah, day one, I use calendar. Yeah, just any calendar, any calendar that you're drawn to, right? Nature. I love nature calendars, because as I look at the calendar, boom, I'm in a hopeful state. Boom, I see a vista from Montana. I'm at peace. Okay.
Thank you. And then Leslie asked, can we take Ashwanga and holy basil daily?
Yes. So as we're working through, and that's one of the beauties of the Ayurvedic system, it's recommended that you take your supplements daily and you give yourself 4 to 6 weeks to see how it's feeling. Ayurvedic supplements, which are all majority food, herb, plant-based, take time to get into your system and then to start to propagate out. So a lot of times we're not giving supplements or things enough time. We take it and we expect it to see a difference in a day or two. That's not the way it works, right? So give yourself time. Give yourself time to notice, right? Notice things. Our fast food society, right, has created fast food expectations for everything in the world, and we're out of rhythm. We're out of rhythm with the world and with life. So we need to get back into the rhythm of life, pausing, being patient. And I'm going to wrap this up, or actually come back to a question that Sara had. Of someone had posed a question during Sarah Clark's session of what I perceived as, how do we stay in the heart? How do we stay kind? How do we stay centered, right? While all this is going on. And we have our heart-centered Heart Sutra practices of being generous, being patient, being kind. All these things are all there for us. They're our natural state. And we can notice when we're not in that state that we're off balance. So it's our natural state. If we're not already presenting from that, we're stressed. And we can take a step back and drink some water, get some rest, ask questions, get clarity on what our next steps are. So it's a change. It's a little adjustment that we're all going through now, but it's a great time to go through it together. So again, as we look at the calendar, it is a new beginning. So I'm inviting all of you to take now for a new beginning, right? To own your own self-healing and to monitor it, right? But no, you're not in it alone. We have our community, right? So we're gonna check in. I was so happy to hear from Maya and Rose, and I got the word when you did, that this is gonna happen on a monthly basis, right? So there's an opportunity to check in on a monthly basis, right? So this allows that the true connection from the Heart Sutra, where we practice the teachings, we're eating good, clean food, right? And we commit to the Dharma, right? The teachings, right? And we commit to the Sangha, okay? So the Buddha is you. So you're committing yourself to the teachings, and we commit to the Sangha, right? So it's a beautiful practice. So if we truly use the true roots of the practice, it's always there for us, always there, right? So we can have a clear mind, a warm heart, right? To digest our food and all the experiences. So I'm gonna go back to what Maya said, right? Is that yoga will help us no matter what. No matter what. We are all so blessed to be able to practice and study this ancient art and tradition together. So thank you so much, Rose, and thank you, Maya, for this offering. And I'm looking forward to participate more, and again, just to be back and be a coach for folks as they come through. So yeah, I look forward to connecting and offering and sharing more. So again, yeah, reach out, Angela at angelstarhealth.com. Again, yeah, my website is in the mix, in the flux. But yeah, reach out, send me an email, and I'll have offerings on Union Fit. I do have some classes scheduled, but again, we're going back to school here. So I teach family yoga. So I have that class. We're looking for a new time. We're shooting for maybe Mondays and Wednesdays at 4. And it's a class that's open to both young teens. So I usually from 10 and up. They've been participating in the class, and we recognize that the stress is happening to everybody, but the healing tools of yoga and breath are open to everybody. So welcome all ages in the class. And again, there's a family pass that makes it accessible to everybody. All right.
Angela, thank you so much for offering so many things to the community and really like approaching it from a holistic way. We have about 5 more minutes and a couple more questions. How does that sound?
That sounds perfect. That sounds perfect.
Wonderful. So Teresa was curious, can you recommend ingredients for the green drink, please?
Yeah, so actually, and I'll share. Let's see, share. I think I've got a green drink recipe from some of my old clients. So what I would do is, so when it comes to your leafy greens, either a lettuce or spinach. That's my taste preference. You might have some more mint. Mint is another great herb you could add into your green. So I forgot mine in the fridge, and I'm not going to step away. So one leafy green, a lettuce family, spinach family. You can add in an herb on top of that, basil, mint. Okay, and then your fruits. So it's up to you on your fruits. So I would choose one of an apple pear. So either half of one apple, half of one pear. So it's an either or option there. Grapes, Okay, grapes are great to add, but you have to watch the color of the skin. Okay, so I have these dark grapes. I decided not to juice them because I didn't want to have a purple colored drink, but it adds a nice level of sweetness. Okay, so, and because of that level of sweetness, I would do either or. I don't want to go overboard on the sugar, so I would do either grape or watermelon. Okay, so it's just a small handful of grapes. So everything is so, right? So let's be mindful of our portion sizes. Maybe if we were mindful of our portion sizes, drank some more water, it would take just a couple of more small things for us all to achieve better health. That's just what I've heard. So when it comes to just a handful of grapes could go in, right? So and then when it comes to it, the beauty of the cucumber is so mild, right? So you can add this as your second vegetable if you want, and or celery. You could add celery. So our greens are lettuce or spinach, and then you have cucumber or celery, right? And then from our fruit side, apple or pear, or you could do citrus, right? So you can take it from in the citrus realm where you have your orange or your grapefruit, okay? And then if you do have any melon or grape, then you can layer that down. So I'm just asking that you be mindful of your fruit sizes. You could always add water and ice to get it to the consistency that's right for you. There's nothing wrong with watering it down a little bit. Nothing wrong with chilling it out with some ice.
Wow. Thank you so much. Those grapes look humongous and so delicious.
They are tasty.
Yeah. So Azaria asked, is there an Ayurveda supplement or food source for vitamin D that you might recommend?
Right. So vitamin D, the sunshine, is our main source. I was fortunate enough to study with Dr. Michael Hollick. He is the preeminent vitamin D nutritional expert. So getting that time in the sun, so getting the portion of your arms and your thighs, you can't have, this has to be exposed. That's where more of the receptors are. The vitamin D receptors are there. That has to be exposed to get it to convert from the sun. The other vitamin D source, I believe it was a meat source. So I think you're either, because I think most of the supplements, I believe they are, it's a meat derived base. So other than that, that's it. That's it for the vitamin D. I'll do some more research on it because that's a good question. It hasn't come back up. But dairy, that's it. Eggs and dairy, that's it. I've got a support here. So the eggs and dairy are other ways to get that in. So yeah, the sunshine might be it, just because of the amount of eggs and dairy that you can consume. So you might not be getting as much in as you need to restore your vitamin D.
Wow. Thank you so much for all of your sharing. So many, Shadi says, thank you so much. Giving ourselves time sounds like a healing practice in and of itself. Vivian,
Right.
Jess, Gail, like all these folks are saying, thank you so much. Nikki says, thank you. Yeah, thank you very much. And thank you especially for continuing to stress experiment and non-judgment from Sirwa. So much love and affirmation for you in the chat. So I'll allow, I know you had said you wanted to end on an Om, so I would like to invite you to do that now before I make my last announcement.
Oh, great. So just for Ganesha, so let's just do we're going to do an Om Gam Ganapataye Namaha, just to honor that space and that wisdom, right? And that little tough gong energy that's coming through for our society. Breathing in. Om Gam Ganapataye Namaha.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Yes.